Leading up to the Game Awards last year, I took the controversy over the best RPG nominees as a chance to look a bit deeper into the genre itself, and to hopefully clear up some confusion on the process. By the time this video is finished and put up on YouTube, the first big release of 2024, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, will have been released. As I write this script, the review embargo has already been lifted and the game is receiving high praise from critics. But one descriptor for the game keeps popping up, a word which some may not be familiar with: Metroidvania. So, in this next installment of what I guess is going to be a thing I do sometimes, let's take a deeper look into what makes a Metroidvania. The word itself is a combination of Metroid and Castlevania. There were some overlapping elements to early entries in both series, such as non-linear gameplay, but what really sets this genre apart is combining non-linear areas with areas that are inaccessible until a certain item, upgrade, or power-up is obtained. However basic that may seem, the gameplay is much different than simply cannot open blue door until I find blue key. To illustrate, let's look at some early gameplay from Metroid Dread. After the opening cinematics, we take control of Samus as she stands in the middle of an open room, with doors on either side of her. The door on the left is reachable, but it won't open with our current weapons, so the player is forced to go to the door on the right. Soon after, we find yet another door that won't open with our weapons, but this time, the tutorial prompts the player to shoot an exposed segment of the ceiling, which collapses, allowing us to move vertically through the area. We eventually come to another collapsible ceiling with a slight twist. The rubble blocks us from returning the same way we came. Continuing through our available path soon brings us to our first confrontation with one of the not at all terrifying enemy units, albeit in a very weakened state. Overcoming this machine allows us to open a previously blocked door and puts us on the other side of that rubble, which has a convenient morph ball shaped gap that series veterans already know will come in handy later on. In less than 5 minutes, and with no permanent upgrades yet acquired, Metroid Dread gives the player a crash course into how the game, and the genre with its namesake, approaches exploration, combat, and progression. Overlapping with this form of progression through the game's world is the presence of secrets, usually in the form of optional upgrades. In-game maps typically have some indicator that there's a secret nearby. In the case of Metroid Dread, the segment of the room will flash while the map is open. If the player is able to visualize the upgrade but not yet reach it, the map will also have a symbol showing which type of upgrade is waiting to be found. Finding as many of these as possible is usually in the player's best interest. After all, maxing out your ammo and health is never a bad thing. Even so, many players choose to skip certain ones in favor of quicker completion times, or even as a challenge to themselves to clear the game with the minimum amount of upgrades possible. Another important distinction for the genre, at least to me, is the varying level of inaccessibility for the areas you explore. For example, even if 95% of a certain area is not yet open to you, the games will often allow you to mine that remaining 5% for any available secrets or upgrades. This adds to the exploration mechanics by rewarding your curiosity, if only for a short while. I would almost compare this to exploring dungeons in open world games or RPGs. Even if the fork you followed in the caverns didn't lead you to the boss battle, at least you got a cool piece of armor out of it. These layers of accessibility also allow for some creative level design. For example, most Metroid games include what's known as the Varia suit, which allows Samus to travel through areas with extreme heat. However, some of those areas also include lava or acid, which requires yet another suit upgrade that will come later on. Whether traversing that liquid will progress a story or simply hold coveted upgrades, players are bound to make a mental note to check back later. With an emphasis on exploration and the reward of so many secrets to uncover, it's easy to see why this style of games became so popular. I spoke with Dryden Thomas, the solo developer behind the upcoming game Lighthoof, and asked for some insight into why he decided to make his first game a Metroidvania. He told me, "I chose Metroidvania because I love the elements: exploration, combat, platforming, and story. They're timeless, and you can do a lot with them. I also knew that small teams had accomplished it before, which meant it might be attainable as a solo first-time dev. And lastly, because they don't have any 3D experience, and it's a good genre for a 2D artist. As a matter of fact, you've likely played Metroidvanias from recent years that were developed by small teams. Ori and the Blind Forest and Hollow Knight were the debut titles from indie devs Moon Studios and Team Cherry, respectively. The critical acclaim these titles received showcases the staying power of this style of gameplay. And as another point of fact, Metroid Dread was nominated for Game of the Year at the 2021 Game Awards. I've been enthralled with the Metroid series for my entire life. Some of my earliest gaming memories involve Super Metroid, which I still try to go back and replay at least every couple of years. With this video, I hope I've been able to translate that love into some knowledge with the series, or the genre as a whole, that you may not have known about before. So what are some of your favorite aspects of these types of games? Let me know in the comments. And be sure to go check out Dryden's dev diary about Lighthoof at the link in the description, after which you should also go wishlist it on Steam. Until next time, play what you love, and love what you play.